All right, to watch this video for March 23rd, which will be Wednesday. Remember that's Wednesday and Thursday, and that's it. The market's closed for Good Friday, and things are pretty dead out there. Pretty low volume, and we're just kind of trotting along sideways here in the SPY. So don't bet the farm on anything this week. It's a low volume week. Not a lot of great opportunities, but some of the gappers, and we've had some decent plays in chat. But I'm certainly trading smaller this week because just not a lot of volume. But CSTM, I'm going to start with that one. Now this chart wouldn't have caught my attention if I was just going through a bunch of charts, but because I traded today, I saw this big spike and the halt, and then it's really kind of just flagging ever since. So I want to put this on. Let's switch to 60s real quick here. You can kind of see it. Got beat up back here. I think they had an announcement with a contract with Airbus, if I'm not mistaken, which gave it the pop, and then it halted. It held up okay after the pop. So I want to watch this. Maybe up over 525. Might get going tomorrow. So again, that wouldn't have caught my attention if I wasn't trading today, but I saw it. So I want to watch CSTM for a potential long tomorrow. KTOV, a decent range in that one today, but closed about where it opened. I think it needs to come in another day or two, but I'm still going to watch it for a potential trade. Lumber Liquidators had this on Bounce Watch today, which generally is a break of a narrow range after the morning's over. And you did have a narrow range, right, from 12 to 1180. So it could have been a long. I didn't see this. I was trading something else or doing something else. It would have been a long just using my own methods right over 12 with a low of day stop at 1180. You're only talking 20 cents risk, and I would have looked like a genius if I'd have done that, but I didn't see it. And then look what happens. Boom. So it had this news and it just ripped. So, it's extended now. As a matter of fact, probably a smart short once it's got over 14. It went up to 1433, but anytime something moves that far, that fast up into recent highs is probably a better short over that whole number than a long. Having said that, if we can get a red to green tomorrow or something, this one might have continuation. I think there's a lot of shorts in LL. So that one goes on watch. SXE. Big volume today. Really kind of a weird chart. As I'm making this video, let me look up. I think it's got a fairly low float. 21 million. I'm not sure if there was news today or not, but I think it's worth watching tomorrow. It's a fairly low float. There's the intraday using 5-minute candles. Big pop, and held that pop pretty well. Closed at $1.29. Just a couple weeks ago, this thing was $2.14. So, it's worth watching. All right, so we're going to have that one on watch. AZUR, kind of another obscure chart, but had a nice little volume spike today. Maybe over today's high or over $2, something like that. This one's kind of interesting. I don't know what beat it up so bad. It looks like it's in the oil and gas pipelines group, and 10 million shares-ish, somewhere around 10 million shares in the float. So that one might have a follow-through day tomorrow. I'm going to watch that one. AZUR, PETX. Just an inside red day today. I wish it would have been on lower volume. Had a big spike here yesterday and then kind of a inside day, but I would have preferred this to be lower volume. But it's worth watching for maybe a narrow range and then a break if it's early high sometime after the first 30 minutes or so. I call that a bounce play, even though generally a bounce play might be something that's 3 or 4 days down in a row into support. I also call these bounce plays something that kind of broke on big volume and then put in a quiet inside day the next day. A lot of times, the third day it can rip again. So I'm going to watch that one too. Dean Foods DF down 1, 2, 3, 4 days in a row, and today a big day down near area of support. It bounced nicely here and here, so it's come a long way in a short period of time. So I'm going to watch that one for potential bounce tomorrow. And then lastly, LEU gapped up. Remember, this is that low float one. We had a great trade in it this day. Been watching it since then. And now I guess I figured why it never would break out here. I was watching it every day and just never gave a decent trade. Now I know it's because earnings was coming up and nobody wanted to mess with it. Well, now earnings are behind it. It did gap up on earnings and rally for a little bit, but closed sort of near its lows. I also call this a bounce play just because on an intraday basis it was weak, but it still made a big upside move. It's still nicely above where it closed yesterday. So this one, sometimes the very next day you can get a rip higher. It's a lower float stock, so I'm going to keep my eyes on that one too. We will be stalking and building as a group in the pre-market tomorrow. We'll be building a list of potential gappers. Everybody works together really well, and hopefully we'll catch a gap play in the morning or find some things on an intraday basis. But not in love with this list, and I'm not in love with the trading environment because of the holiday week, but it doesn't mean we won't find something to trade. So That's it. I'll leave it at that, and we'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Have a good night.